Good day and welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the latest updates that truly matter to South Africans. Today's story is one you absolutely cannot afford to miss, especially if you or your loved ones depend on SASSA grants to get by each month. Rumors have been swirling, excitement has been growing, and today we are pulling back the curtain on what could be the biggest surprise of the year, the talk of a potential R2000 plus boost for SASSA recipients. Yes, you heard that right, over 2,000 rands, possibly coming soon. But as always, there's more to the story than what's being shown on the surface. In fact, there's a lot they are not openly telling you, and today we're diving deep into all the important details, the whispers behind the scenes, and the real truth you need to know. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be better informed than 90% of people out there. Every year, millions of South Africans eagerly await news about SASSA increases. It's a lifeline, not a luxury. But for far too long, these increases have barely kept up with the relentless rise in the cost of living. Bread, transport, school uniforms, electricity bills, they've all climbed sky high while grant increases have lagged behind. Many people have been forced to stretch an already thin grant check across even thinner needs. Against this backdrop, whispers began to emerge earlier this year about something unusual happening, something bigger than the standard few rands added to monthly payments. When the initial announcements for 2025's grant increases were made, many people sighed in disappointment. The increases were modest at best, nowhere near enough to match the punishing levels of inflation ordinary South Africans were feeling. However, almost immediately after the official news dropped, another wave of information began circulating. This information wasn't shouted from podiums or paraded in the mainstream press. Instead, it leaked out quietly through community organizations, civil society groups, and a few brave voices in the financial sector. They spoke of an additional payment, a surprise catch-up grant, designed to acknowledge the real economic devastation ordinary families have been suffering. And the figures mentioned weren't small. They spoke of a once-off payout in the region of R2000 to even R2800 for some grant recipients. A payment big enough to make a real difference. But why the secrecy? Why wasn't this information proudly announced to the nation if it was such good news? The answer, as you might expect, is political. South Africa's financial position is precarious. Every decision to spend more money comes with serious risks, including worsening debt, increased borrowing costs, and even a potential downgrade by international credit agencies. The government cannot afford to make promises it cannot keep. So, instead of making bold public declarations, they've chosen to quietly test the waters behind closed doors, gauging public reaction while buying themselves time to figure out how such a payment could be funded without setting off financial alarm bells. Digging even deeper, it becomes clear that this R2000 plus surprise isn't just about economics, it's about politics too. With elections on the horizon, there's immense pressure on the government to show that it hasn't abandoned its most vulnerable citizens. After years of scandals, slow service delivery, and public frustration, leaders know they need a headline-grabbing success story. Boosting SASSA grants significantly, even if only once, would create a wave of goodwill among millions of voters. But again, it's a gamble. If they promise and fail to deliver, the backlash would be even worse. Adding another layer of complexity, there's fierce debate happening within government itself about how the surprise payment should be structured. Should it go to all SASSA recipients equally? Or should it be targeted only at the elderly, people living with disabilities, and foster parents caring for multiple children? Should it be taxed? Should it come as a voucher, a direct deposit, or a cash payout? These questions might seem technical, but the answers will make a world of difference for real people struggling to survive. And every delay in making those decisions only increases the frustration felt by citizens who are tired of promises and desperate for action. Meanwhile, civil society organizations are not sitting idly by. Advocacy groups, churches, and even some unions have started mobilizing, demanding that the government go beyond a once-off payment and permanently adjust grants to reflect the real cost of living. They argue, correctly, that poverty is not a once-off event, it's an ongoing daily struggle. A single large payment may ease pain for a month or two, but without ongoing increases, families will simply slide back into crisis as soon as the money runs out. These groups have pointed out that South Africa's constitution guarantees the right to social assistance, and that the government has a moral and legal obligation to ensure grants are enough to sustain a basic standard of living. All this leaves ordinary South Africans in a difficult position. On one hand, the idea of an R2000 plus bonus is exciting, even life-changing. Think about what an extra R2000 could mean. A chance to pay off store debts. A chance to buy enough groceries to last more than just a week. A chance to replace broken school shoes, or fix a leaking roof, or catch up on unpaid electricity bills. For many, it could mean a rare moment of dignity, a rare opportunity to breathe without the constant pressure of survival. On the other hand, uncertainty breeds anxiety. Without official confirmation, without clear criteria or timelines, many people are left wondering if they will qualify, when the payment might come, and whether they might be left out. And of course, whenever rumors of large payments start spreading, the scammers are not far behind. Already, fake SMS messages and WhatsApp forwards are making the rounds, falsely claiming that people need to pay registration fees or provide personal banking information to claim the bonus. Let's be absolutely clear, no real SASSA process will ever ask for your password, PIN, or a payment upfront. Stay vigilant and protect yourself from falling victim to fraudsters exploiting your hopes. While the uncertainty drags on, experts continue to argue about the broader economic implications. Some warn that pumping too much money into the economy too quickly could fuel inflation, hurting the very people the grants are supposed to help. Others counter that South Africa's economy desperately needs a demand boost, and that helping low-income families is the most effective and humane way to do it. After all, when a wealthy person gets extra money, they might save it or invest it overseas. But when a poor family gets extra money, they spend it immediately, buying local goods, supporting township businesses, paying school fees, visiting local doctors. In other words, they circulate money back into the real economy, where it can have a multiplying effect. As we wait for the final word, there's one thing everyone can do to prepare: update your information with SASSA. If your phone number, banking details, or address has changed, get that sorted immediately. If there's a new payment channel being announced, or a registration requirement for a surprise payout, those with accurate information on file will be the first to benefit. Also, make sure your ID is in good condition, your paperwork is complete, and that you're keeping a close eye on announcements from official sources. The next few weeks could be crucial. Some insiders hint that an announcement could come just before mid-year, when financial reporting pressures ease and when government departments traditionally make mid-cycle adjustments. Others believe it could be tied to a special budget session, or even used as part of the build-up to major election campaign promises. Whatever the timing, one thing is clear: South Africa's poorest citizens deserve more than broken promises and temporary fixes. They deserve respect, dignity, and the genuine support needed to build a better life. As this story continues to unfold, we will be right here, watching every development, reading between the lines, and bringing you the real facts that others might miss. Because at the end of the day, information is power, and you deserve to be empowered with the full truth, not just carefully selected